so here we are. We have 2 minutes to go.
I'm like, that's my son, that's my youngest. What? And they're like,
I'd like to call to order the October 5th, 2022 meeting of the Clearwater Downtown Development Board. Welcome all of you today. I'd like to ask you to silence your cell phones and cease private conversations at this time. A reminder to members to lean forward and speak clearly so the microphone can pick up your voice. And we'll begin with introductions beginning on my left.
Shahab Emrani.
Paris Morphopoulos.
Keenan Kinsel.
Raymond Casano.
Terry Nowitzki.
Caitlin Jammo.
Leanne Teixeira.
Mark Bunker.
Okay, so now we'll move on to, we'll take up the minutes of the September 7th meeting. And Matt, are you taking that for us? Or is there anything to tell us about it? Yeah, you don't have anything you wanted to say on it? Okay. So we're going to take that up. Are there any corrections requested from the September 7th meeting?
No, sir.
Okay. I'd like to request a motion to adopt those minutes.
I move we approve the minutes from September 7th, 2022.
Okay, motion by Raymond. Do we have a second? Shahab seconds. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. Let's go to the minutes of the September 14th meeting. Any corrections to that? Okay, can I have a motion?
Motion to adopt those minutes.
Okay, do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, motion by Terry, seconded by Ray. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it is unanimous. Okay, we're on item 3. Citizens to be heard regarding items not on the agenda. If there are any citizens that would like to address us, please limit your comments to matters that are relevant to our district. And if it's regarding an item that's on the agenda, please wait until that item is called. And if there is anyone, please come up and identify yourself. Okay, there being none, we'll move on. 4.1, the August 22 financial statement. Matt, did you have anything you wanted to review with us on that?
No.
Howard Smith, Business Assistant Administrator for the CRA. Request approval of the August 2022 financial statement for filing. In the report that was sent to you all from the financials, funds spent in the month of August 2022 total out to be $15,626.04. Funds spent for the month were for Market Marie, holiday lighting, operating expenditures, public meeting notice, legal fees, and DDB minute prep with the DDB attorney, the Surrey meetings and administrative fee, and also the tax collector commission. The ending funding balance for the DDB budget is $424,947.42. As of September 20th, 2022, the DDB allocated $201,944.75 to their marketing line item. And as of September 20th, 2022, the DDB allocated $0 of their policy and project work line. The remaining balance in that line item is $27,550. Any questions regarding the budget and the funds spent in the month of August?
No, we
I don't see it. Okay. Then I'm looking for, are there any citizen comments regarding this item? Okay. Then I'm looking for a motion to adopt the August 2022 financial statement for filing.
Motion to adopt
Oh,
August
okay.
2022 financial statement for filing.
Second.
Caitlin makes the motion. Keenan seconds. Is there any discussion on this item? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. Okay, so now we have special event funding requests, and there's a time limit of 5 minutes for presentations. And so if members can hold their questions till the presentation is finished so we don't use up their time. Okay, and the first one is Market Marie funding request.
Make sure I get this right. So the purpose of this item is to request not a grant amendment, but a grant approval for Market Me in an amount not to exceed $30,000. After discussion with the DDB attorney yesterday on lease winners, it was decided that the best course of action to be able to renew the Market Me grant would not be to amend it as it was listed in the original staff report, but to basically come in and basically ask and request another grant. The current funding agreement with Market Me expires at the end of October. And with that, another market will start in November. Starting November of this year, Market Marie will be relocated from 17 Court Street, where she's been for the past year and a half providing markets, to Station Square. And this is done at the request of the city because that lot for Court and Myrtle will no longer be allowed to be accessed or used for the Market Marie event. So the street market brings local businesses and visitors to the city to see unique merchandise, especially items with more than 75 local vendors at each market, which attracts about 500 visitors to downtown each month when she conducts her markets in downtown. So funding requests for the market will be used to support operational expenses to manage and produce each market, also cover the city permitting fees, security, live music, and the marketing costs for each market. And to aid in the continued success of the street market at the new location, and then with the expanded venue, staff recommend approving a new grant for Market Marie, and also provide $2,500 upon execution of a grant agreement to cover the marketing costs for print and social media. One of the reasons for the changes in the increased costs, if her market is going to be successful, then she's going to have to advertise, and with the short turnaround time with one market taking place on this Saturday for August 8th, and then have another market coming on board in November, she's going to have to advertise the new location, and that's going to be done through print and also social media, because she has already gathered a following to be able to make her market be successful. So that's why there's an increase in cost from her last funding request to what she's asking for now for $30,000. With that pending approval, Market Marie will complete a grant agreement that outlines the details of their event. The market benefits from the DDB, as part of the grant agreement. And this event does align with the Downtown Development Board current work plan to fund the production and marketing of special events throughout the DDB district area to create a more welcoming downtown. Now, I do have Blair Valentine here if there are any questions, specific questions about the market. But what I would like to show you is this is the new footprint for it. And it's going to take place along Cleveland Street at the 500 and 600 block, as well as Garden Avenue.
I have a question. What time period does this grant cover?
This new grant will cover from November going through through April of 2023. And the current grant runs out at the end of this month. And she will come back probably in November or either December to do a report out. So she would still have that same requirement to report on the current market that she has been funded for.
So that is 6 markets?
Yes.
6 markets.
6 more markets.
Does this violate, I thought we had planned that we provide funds up to 50%. Does this violate that?
No, funding for this is below the 30% threshold for the DDB budget. So the $30,000 is below, and currently the balance is at $47,044, which is 30% of your overall marketing budget of $156,814.
Great.
So we're well under that threshold.
Right.
And I have another question. I thought that the city was going to start participating on some of these things with in-kind, like for some of the things that we're paying fees for to the city.
Well, currently, the city, and this would come through Parks and Recs for a special event, there is no special event funding. That time period has already passed. Traditionally, all requests for co-sponsorship has to be presented in February. But moving forward, and Matt, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the city was doing away with co-sponsorship through Parks and Recs.
Well, there's a specific time period, but yes, this wouldn't qualify for it.
This wouldn't, so there's no assistance from the city on this at all?
No, sir.
It's the DDB's funding it in its entirety?
Correct.
Okay. All right, just wanted to clarify that. Any other questions from anyone?
I like the new location.
I imagine you do.
No, but it's right,
Yeah.
it's right downtown.
It's, it brings it to the downtown, which is where we would have preferred it all along, but it wasn't in a bad location as far as getting it off the ground goes.
And she has built up a following for her market. So having the new expanded footprint will bring people and pedestrians to the area. And again, this expanded to the 500 and 600 block of Cleveland Street and Garden. So you can literally go into Station Square Park, walk down Cleveland Street, and be able to access several different vendors.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Howard, where will parking be?
Well, on the weekend, parking in downtown is free. So where we have the parking garage, one which is located right here on Garden Street, that parking garage is free. We also have our municipal service parking garage, which is on, what's that,
Pierce
on
Park.
Park Street, which is free.
Plus Station Square, first two levels.
Gas Station Square, first two levels.
Okay. Anyone else?
I do have a historical question. There was a market that was happening on the waterfront. What was the decision from the city to prevent them from continuing?
I'm familiar with the market. I'm not familiar with the person that ran it, but from what I was told, the vendor that actually ran it, she made the decision to move the market. It didn't have anything to do with the city.
So it wasn't from the city end?
Right.
No, that's not how I recall
Well,
it.
I'm just.
Me neither.
What I was informed of, because Madai, which she's an old city employee, she used to work with Parks and Rec. She was also, I guess, one of the co-founders of that market. And she informed me, because we did have a conversation about it, that the vendor decided to no longer have it there. I'm not sure what the issue was, or if there was an issue with the city. I'm just informing you of what I understand it to be.
Yeah.
The reason I'm asking is I want to make sure if this vendor, after spending all this money to come to downtown and do well, out of the blue doesn't come the idea that, no, you can't do this anymore. Because if I recall, this is many years ago, I think the city wanted to do it itself as opposed to let someone to run it. I think that, if I'm recalling.
No, I think what happened is someone decided that they couldn't just let her have the market, and it was a very successful market. It was a really popular market. And then someone took the view that, well, we can't just have this going to this one person arbitrarily, so it has to go to RFP.
Okay, so
That's-
is that going to happen to
I
Market
don't
Mary?
think so. I think that was-
For the Market Marie, her event is permitted, so anybody has the ability to be able to do a market. She does not have a unique onus on doing a market in Clearwater, but you still have to go through the special permit event process. And she has gone through that process. Her markets have received permits, so as far as moving forward, nobody can have a market in this location on the date that she's having it in downtown. But she is cleared to have her market. So as long as any person's accessing the public right-of-way or public spaces, they have to get a permit. So if their permit is approved, then they can have a market. And she is well within her rights to be able to do that because she's gone through the process.
That's great.
Go ahead,
As a
Elise.
practical matter, the way hers is scheduled for once a month in that location, and the fact that we had last year funded 2 different markets, just on different days, it's unlikely anybody's going to say you're having all the space.
Yeah, as a practical matter, that's true.
Other people still have the option to come in and make presentations and for different days.
Great.
That's right.
The only intention of bringing this up is that we are investing quite a bit in this market. I just want to make sure down the road it doesn't get interfered with because someone, I don't know who, decided that.
They're no longer with the firm. Yeah,
Okay, great. Well, thank you, sir.
yeah. Go ahead.
The Market Marie has been a big success and wonderful for the community. Is there more space downtown for them than there was at their current location? And are they going to be out in the streets?
They're going to be in the streets and the parking lots, like the 600 block, as well as certain sections of the 500 blocks, also inside Station Square and along Garden. So I have Blair here. In terms of the expanded footprint, she can probably tell you. She can probably tell you more, and she's gonna have more vendors than what she normally has, but from my view, has increased in size.
Hi, I'm Blair. I talk somewhat quietly, so I know you couldn't hear me from back there, but the footprint that we've measured right now is about 100 vendors. So with the layout we did at 710 Court Street, I think the biggest one we had there was around 90 to 95. So, and we have more room to work on Cleveland. I want to keep it as concise as possible to make sure no vendors get left out, things like that. So with the layout that's shown on the screen right now, that's about 100 vendors, including a couple food trucks. And we do have more room to work with on Cleveland, though. We could look into extending further down or even further down on Garden as well. But for now, it is still going to be a good-sized market, around 100. So, any other questions?
Yes. Reading the request, I noticed that you guys rotate some of the vendors.
Yes.
Is there enough room to bring all of them in?
Some vendors just rotate out naturally. They'll go to other events in the Tampa Bay area that may occur on the same day. Not in Clearwater, but Tampa, St. Pete. There are definitely enough vendor spaces there, though, we can say yes a lot more than turning people away. Naturally, we'll probably have a wait list in some categories to make sure it stays unique and there's not too much of one category there. But yeah, we have plenty of room on Cleveland Street to make it successful for everyone.
That's great, and look forward to see it 20 blocks long.
Yeah, the vendors are very excited. I am as well, so.
Great.
Well, I'm glad it's coming to, right to the city center. So are there any other questions from the board? Any comments? Okay. Thank you, Blair.
Thank you.
Are there any citizen comments on this item? Okay. So let's ask for a motion here regarding well, it's not an amendment. It's a,
It's a new grant.
yeah, regarding awarding a grant to Margaret Marie.
I'll move to approve a new grant request not to exceed $30,000.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so Caitlin, motion, Ray seconds. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We'll go on to the next one, Hard to Guard Sports Fest funding in the amount not to exceed $20,000.
Good evening. I'm Vicki Shire. I'm the Specimens Coordinator for the CRA. The purpose of this item is to request the approval of funding for the Hard to Guard Basketball Sports Fest, a 3-on-3 youth basketball tournament, an event produced by Hard to Guard Basketball, Inc., and the amount not to exceed $20,000. The event will take place on Saturday, January 21st, 2023, at 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. in Station Square Park and on Cleveland Street at the 500 and 600 block. The event will bring approximately 500 to 700 attendees. Sorry, I'm a little nervous, not gonna lie. The event will bring approximately 500 to 700 attendees into downtown Clearwater. In addition, they will be working with local merchants to help provide food and beverages for the event. The event aligns with the board's current work plan to fund the production and marketing of various special events throughout its district to create a more welcoming downtown. The event will also receive a special event permit approval from the Parks and Rec Department that meets COVID safety protocols. The staff recommends funding the Hard to Guard Sports Fest as a grant request of $20,000, providing $4,630 upon executing a grant agreement to cover marketing costs for the event. The funds for this grant are available in the marketing category line item from the DDB's 2023 budget per the DDB's funding policy. The request of $20,000 is below the $47,000, which is 30% of the DDB's $156,000 marketing budget. At this time, I would like to bring Chris and Aaron from Hard to Guard Basketball to the podium to present more information about the event and answer any questions for you.
Good evening. My name is Chris Galaxis. I'm the director of Hard to Guard, and this is Aaron Hammond. He's my assistant director. This event is pretty simple, I think. I've been running Hard to Guard basketball here in Clearwater, Florida for almost 20 years, about 19 and a half years. We do 3-on-3 tournaments, we do summer camps, we do basketball training, pretty much anything that pertains to basketball we do. But through it all, we've spent a lot of time making our events family-friendly, something that not just the players come out, but also the parents, the grandparents, family and friends. So when we had this opportunity to create this event and actually host it downtown Clearwater, Aaron and I got really excited. I did, he didn't, because it's a lot more work for him. But we were excited nonetheless. The biggest thing is, so I have 6 children myself, so sometimes being able to take 5 or 6 of the kids out to any festival gets pricey. My daughter loves bounce houses, my other son loves playing games, whatever it is, it adds up pretty quick. So when we found out we had an opportunity to do it outside, which in January the weather should be relatively nice, we figured why not give it a shot. It's not anything that we're doing right now, it's not anything new, we've been doing it. Some of our larger events, we have bounce houses, we have games, we have vendors, we have sponsors, so it's nothing out of the ordinary. We're kind of centering it around our outdoor 3-on-3 tournaments, which is probably the way the game got started across America with some of the Hoop It Up, Gus Smackers all over the country. So being able to do it outside for the first time, I've never hosted outside in Florida for obvious reasons, rain, weather, whatnot. But January seemed to be the best time to do it because of that. And so the idea is, I know the numbers are around 500 to 700. But it's probably going to be a lot more than that. I think just our basketball side of it could bring on 300 to 400 athletes, along with their families and friends and whatnot. And so, in addition to the bounce houses, we're looking to have a petting zoo, face painting, balloon animals, things like that. So it's a completely free event for the families to come out. We will hopefully utilize all the vendors, all the restaurants and businesses downtown Clearwater, because again, this is in their backyard, but also we want to be able to invite other businesses from all over the Tampa Bay area that never been down here, so they have a chance to kind of see, and potentially, who knows, right? So that's kind of what we're looking to do, and hopefully we're able to do it a couple times a year. Moving forward, we'll start off with once, and hopefully the numbers are right, and we'll keep doing it, where families and friends look kind of forward to it.
Do we have questions?
Yes.
Go ahead, Keenan.
What were the age groups? I know it was in the documentation, but I forgot.
So our youth basketball, our 3-on-3 tournament is going to be youth all the way up to high school. We're not going to do any adults.
No adults?
Yeah, young kids, keep it pretty
If you
simple.
change your mind and you want adults, I'm in, but I get Matt on my team.
Yeah, he's got some size on him.
Yeah, so I'm just saying.
But yeah, because again, we're looking to make it more of a family-friendly event and bring out as much, as many people as possible so they can enjoy it, so.
And where will these take place?
So the actual 3-on-3 tournament portion of it is going to be right in the corner of Garden and Cleveland Street. So Aaron's going to put it up here in a second. So basically it's the corner where the sidewalk and the street is kind of painted, I guess. I don't know if you're familiar with that. So we'll have 4 baskets. And we'll pretty much go about 8 to 9 hours. We can accommodate about 40 to 50 teams of up to 5 players.
So Garden would be closed?
It would be, yes, sir.
Okay.
Where do you draw your attendees from?
So Hard to Guard basketball, we run the biggest and the longest running 3-on-3 basketball tournament in the state of Florida. So every year we had an event at the Long Center in March, I believe, was it? In August. It was a back-to-school jam. We had over 100 teams. So, and that's a mixture of youth all the way up to adults. We're not looking to get 100 teams. We can't accommodate 100 teams on 4 baskets. The City of Clearwater, the Long Center has 6 baskets. Therefore, we're going to cap it off at a certain number. But most of it's going to be from teams that we already have. But again, the idea is to be able to promote it outside of Clearwater.
Okay. I have a question. My attention is a little bit on the amount of the request for one event and for the number of people coming. That means that we're being asked to spend around possibly $40, as much as $40 per person we bring to downtown, which seems like a really steep price to bring someone downtown.
Yeah, this is new for us as far as receiving money. So I think the numbers of the amount of spectators and families is a lot lower, but again, we want to say it's going to be 1,200 and then 700 show up and it looks bad. So we'd rather underestimate it a little bit, but we're pretty confident between the vendors, the families, the 3-on-3, and obviously the marketing component of it, being able to go to a lot of the schools, the city rec centers. We also host the most basketball tournaments in the state of Florida as well. We do it every weekend. And so we have anywhere from like 500 to 700 people that come through our doors on just Saturdays, and that's 4 times a month. So a lot of those, hopefully we can invite them to come out as well.
What percentage of the total cost is being requested of the DDB?
I believe Vicky said 30%.
So it's 20,000 out of 35,000 is what we're requesting. So a little bit more than half.
And where's the rest of it coming from?
So the rest of it will come from vendors and then our own money as well. So we're going to put a little bit of our skin in the game, obviously, since it's our first time. But a lot of it will come from vendors too.
Okay, go ahead.
Any celebrity hoopers coming?
Yes, actually.
You.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, we're actually working on that, to make a couple guest appearances and stuff like that. So we have some local guys, not a lot of the younger kids will know him, but Marie Spates, who played for the Golden State Warriors. She's a St. Pete native, lives in Clearwater now. Played, won the NBA Finals a few years back. So he's a big guy. And we're working on a couple other guys, like John Henson, played for the Bucks, went to Sickles High School. So a lot of local guys that have been retired for a few years, but, they always help out with the community and stuff like that. So that'll help bring out some more people.
Great. Anyone else have questions?
Yes. So safe to assume you generate income from the vendors?
Yes, sir.
So no fees to just people to come participate?
Correct, unless they purchase food, of course, that would be their own, yeah. But the whole event itself is free, which I think is going to help bring out as many people as possible, especially that time of year.
Do the kids pay to be part of the team's pay, or?
Sorry?
Do the teams who participate have to pay a fee?
So we're going to charge a very minimum fee, just to kind of guarantee that they're going to show up. So that part, unfortunately, we can't really do free, because then once we make the schedule, they haven't paid anything, they really don't have any obligation to show up. So we'll collect something from them based on where they're coming from and whatnot, just to make the schedule. We do the schedule about 3 days prior to that, so if they don't show up, then that obviously messes everything up.
What would a typical entry fee be for?
So we were thinking anywhere from like $25 a team to $50, and that basically would help cover some of the costs of the officials and the baskets and stuff like that. So again, it's just very, very minimum, cost to just guarantee or close to it.
Okay, and then you'll come back afterwards and give us an after-event report on
Yes,
that? Okay. Any other questions?
Go ahead.
Do you have a social media channel that you broadcast your tournaments and stuff on? Or?
We don't technically, because we run tournaments every single weekend. Now, for this particular event, yes, we will. We'll have the Temple Bay Times come out. We have a couple, like the local recording people, like, and you guys may not know them, but Bird Ball Production, and some of the other basketball, like Guru, highlight people that are going to come out and record the whole event from start to finish, from setup to teardown as well.
Great. Anything else? Anyone?
Yes, just a comment. This is exciting. It's great. Get kids involved and bring them into downtown.
But we're definitely excited about it. Like I said, it's a free event, so I think that, especially right after Christmas, you want to be a little bit tighter on cash, so being able to get outdoors again and do some fun stuff with the family is a good deal.
Okay, are there any citizen comments? All right, well, you may take your seats, thank you. And I'm looking for a motion regarding the Heart to Guard Sports Fest funding request.
I'm waiting for Caitlin.
Motion to approve funding in the amount not to exceed $20,000 for the Heart to Guard Sports Fest funding request.
And I'll second that.
Okay, so Caitlin makes the motion, Shahab seconds. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, my only question is, it's more than the 50% that we agreed, we would not fund more than 50%. I mean, it says up to, so maybe it would be a little less. I think 17.5 would be half of that, but now we're funding up to 20.
I don't, go ahead, Elise.
The reason we say up to a certain amount is they're not guaranteed those funds unless they prove that they spent them. We're a reimbursement agency in most instances. So if they don't, if they don't spend and pay their share and provide us receipts that show that they spent that money, we need it. We need proof that they are entitled to the reimbursement. So if they come in with showing that they only paid 20 grand, we're not going to give them 30.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, passes. Very good. We'll go on to the next item. Dunedin Girl Gangs Halloween Market Funding Request.
I'm back again. Vicki Shire, Special Events Coordinator for the CRA. The purpose of this item is to request approval of funding for the Halloween Market on October 30th, an amount not to exceed $4,025. The event will take place on October 30th from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. in Station Square Park, Garden Avenue, and East Avenue. The market is anticipated to host up to 100 vendors and over 300 plus attendees. In addition, they will have an Halloween atmosphere contest, a dance flash mob, which you're invited to join, and music to create a fun and inviting atmosphere for downtown Clearwater. The event will receive a special permit approved for the city's Parks and Recreation Department that meets COVID safety protocols. The staff recommends funding for the Dunedin Girl Gang as their grant request of $4,025 is used to support operational and marketing expenses occurred for the Halloween Market that takes place in Station Square Park and Garden East Avenue. The funds for this grant are available in the marketing category line item for the DDB's 2023 budget per the DDB's funding policy. The request of $4,025 is below the $47,000, which is 30% of the DDB's $156,000 marketing budget. At this time, I'd like to bring the Dunedin Girl Gang up to you guys to answer any questions at the podium.
Good evening, how are you guys? My name is Casey Kilger.
I'm Jessica Vegas.
And we are the founders of the Dunedin Girl Gang. We were exponentially growing, and we were working with Vicki at the Sea Dog Cantina prior to this, and so she thought we would be a good fit to come downtown and expand our market. We've been looking for a new home for a while that could house this growing market that we had started with 9 vendors just over a year ago. Now we're up to looking at 100 for this upcoming market at the end of the month. We are at 75 already confirmed. So we're really excited to highlight women in business here in the area. We think downtown is a fabulous location, especially Station Square Park. We think it's just a beautiful area, get people outside. And of course, our passion is women. We love to highlight these women who are doing incredible things here in our community that are working so hard to make a name for themselves. We are both female business owners in the area. Jess has her own photography. I own a cafe in Dunedin, and we are just super passionate about highlighting those that maybe don't have a storefront or a bigger platform. That being said, all of these women have their own circle of influences that they will be bringing to this market, meaning it will be very well attended, as all of our markets have been.
A great following.
Yeah, our online social media platform, just on the Dunedin Girl Gang alone, on both Facebook and Instagram, has grown exponentially in the last 3 months since announcing this market. So the Halloween theme, of course, is for women only. And not to discriminate anybody else, but it is our niche, and it is how we have set ourselves apart from other markets in the area. Because we know markets here are successful, and we love to do that for these people and provide a platform. I know that Jess has had conversations with plenty of these women saying that they started out at our market and their business has just grown since being introduced out into the world. That was kind of their first step out of their small business, whatever that may be. Do you have anything that you wanted to continue to add? No? Okay.
No.
Yeah, so does anybody have any questions for me?
Yeah, I'm just curious, so the name of the event is just basically because of it's on the 30th?
Yep, so we figured just based on the date, we'd make it fun. It's Halloween themed.
So it's basically an outdoor market.
Yes.
The
Typically,
Halloween
it's
thing is
named
just,
the Dunedin Girl Gang Women's Market.
okay.
That's the typical like umbrella name.
Mhm.
We decided to make it the Halloween Market, just to be
Yeah,
fun.
we're gonna have vendors dressing up in costume, have, encourage families to bring out their kids. Each vendor will set out like a little thing of candy or other little treats. We will be having a costume contest. But yeah.
Go ahead, Keenan.
In the spirit of basketball and free agency and all that, and since we love our neighbors in the north, in Dunedin, but is there any possibility we can slide Clearwater into the girl gang, branding at all?
It's not set in stone. We'll talk about.
Just putting the idea there, possibly.
Yeah, honestly, if this does become our home, if it, because of the way that it can house this many people, I think we'd be open to just slashing it to the girl gang,
Yes.
right?
Clearwater edition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We never expected it to go outside of Dunedin. We didn't know we were going to grow that big. So we're humbled, to be honest.
Well, good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, great.
Any other questions?
Anyone else? Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Are there any citizen comments on this? Okay. Looking for a motion regarding this funding request.
I move to approve the Dunedin Girl Gang / Clearwater Girl Gang in the amount of not to exceed $4,025.
I second it.
Okay, so motion by Keenan, seconded by Ray. And do we have any additional discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It passes.
Oh, I do have one question. Are you
It's
guys
too
giving
late.
out candy only to kids or adults can come also?
Can't say.
Oh, I'd rather do a trick, okay.
You won't need one, though.
Ouch. Okay. So let's go on to the next item, and I think Howard's going to lead that for us. Ivy and Edward, Network Liaison.
Good afternoon. Howard Smith, Business Assistant Administrator for the CRA. The purpose of this item is to request approval of funding for Ivy and Edward Network Liaison LLC to present the Indigenous Vibe in Station Square Park in amount not to exceed $7,763.11. This event will take place on Sunday, November 20th from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. and is expected to attract up to 200 guests in Station Square Park and also in downtown. And this is an event that we will look at being an annual event to be able to grow. With that, this event will feature artwork and local artists, live art painting sessions for ages 4 through 11, adults during this event, live music bands, poetry sessions, and an interactive photo booth along with the support from local restaurants at the 500 and 600 blocks for food and drinks. The total cost of the Indigenous Vibe, which celebrates Indigenous people, is $10,336.75. The funding request will be used to support operational and marketing expenses incurred for executing the event, which will be provided a special events permit approval that follows COVID safety protocols. As part of the DDB's goal to be more involved in racial equity and programming within the district, the DDB seeks to support diversity and equity and inclusion through funding events that bring awareness and equity and inclusion. Staff recommends funding this Indigenous Vibe event as part of the Downtown Development Board's Equity Committee initiative and provides $6,700 upon execution of a grant agreement to cover the marketing costs, print, and social media before the event. Caitlin and I got an opportunity of working with Rita to be able to take and bring this project to fruition. And last year, in our last year budget, we had the diversity and equity inclusion budget. That's no longer in your current budget. We didn't get an opportunity to use it last year, so this is one of the initiatives under that committee. With that, pending approval, Ivy and Edwards Network Liaison will complete a grant agreement that outlines the details of their event and the marketing benefits for the DDB as part of their grant agreements. Funds for this grants are available in the marketing category line item in the DDB's current 22-23 budget, and per the DDB's funding policy, the request of $7,763.11 is below the $47,044 threshold, which is 30% of the DDB's $156,814 marketing budget. And tonight I have Rita Ivy here to answer any specific questions about the Indigenous Lives event. Dr. Colorado.
Question, Howard, how did it get from 6,700 to 7,763, and why?
Well, I need to call, there was an error in terms of when we did the staff report and the initial budget that was submitted and review. The spreadsheet that was provided for their budget had a calculating error. So when I first reported that information out to you all on second review, I caught it, and then we made the adjustment in staff report.
Okay.
So that error was on us.
Okay. Good.
Hello, good evening.
Hi.
Hello.
Your name again, please?
Rita Ivy.
Rita.
Yes.
Okay, great.
So, thank you for having me here today, and I'm very excited for this event, actually. When you hear the word Indigenous, we're not talking about just Native American, but all Indigenous cultures. But as a part of that, we have been working with the Florida Indigenous Alliance, so we are guaranteeing actual, authentic Indigenous experience, not only from the music, but interactive with the audience and drumming, the education component that comes along with that, and as well as artwork. So we've been doing a lot of behind the scenes, trying to make sure that we can have a very diverse experience for all of the people here in Clearwater, right? Not just those that live and work, but people like myself who want to start playing in Clearwater. So we're really excited about that. We have a local band that we've been working with to provide background music. Adults will also be able to partake in the painting session as well. So we were able to expand that. Initially, we were thinking that was something only the children would be able to do, so they can have something to take back, like a memorabilia for the experience as well. But their parents, if they want to sit along with them, they'll be able to engage in that experience. One of the artists that will have work there will also be curating, doing a live painting on the spot. So people actually can engage the artist, talk about that, what it means, and actually see a piece come to fruition right before their eyes. So upon entry, we'll have that interactive selfie booth there. Literally, you put your number in, and they'll be able to take back all the pictures and memories from the day. But we're also working with a firm to help us to get good coverage, news coverage, Tampa Bay Times, and things of that nature. So we really want it to be a polished production that really highlights downtown Clearwater, but also the spirit of diversity and equity as well. So if you have any questions, of course you know, please ask away.
Okay. Anyone? Any questions? I think it's interesting, very interesting. We haven't done anything like this before. It's going to be very cool.
We're very excited about that.
Yeah, great. Well, if there's no more questions, you can return to your seat, and we'll see if are there any citizen comments on this item? Okay. Is there someone that would like to make a motion?
I would like to make a motion to approve the funding for Ivy and Edward Network Liaisons LLC Indigenous Vibes event in the corrected amount of the 7,763 and 11,700.
A second.
Okay, so Caitlin makes the motion, Terry seconds. Is there any discussion? Okay. Well, I'm glad to see something came out of all of this. Good work, Caitlin. And we're looking forward to this, Rita. So I guess that's premature to say till we vote. We'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it is unanimous. Okay, so let's move on. Presentation on various special events, programming, and partnerships initiative. Vicki?
Are you guys tired of hearing my voice yet?
Nope.
Vicki Shire, Special Events Coordinator for the CRA. I'm happy to report on some of the events that are coming up, especially actually this Saturday. When Howard gets it up, you'll see my PowerPoint of all the different programs we have, but I'm just going to highlight a few, because if I wasn't, we'd be here all night. So the first event I'd like to invite you guys to is on October 8th. It's Hocus Pocus. It starts at 6 p.m. It's at the 400 block. What we're going to do is costume contests, games, prizes. The YMCA actually is coming out to provide face paint and some other activities for kids, but everything is completely free, and a lot of the local merchants and vendors got involved. And then at 8:30 sharp, if you guys want to come out, Hocus Pocus 1 will be playing for the children. So that's one of the events in October. The other event I want to highlight for October's are Jeep or Treat. Yes, I said Jeep or Treat, not Trunk or Treat, Jeep or Treat. We teamed up with the Pinellas County Jeep Club. Have you ever heard of them? They have about 3,000 followers on Facebook. They're going to come out into the Old City parking lot. We're going to decorate their Jeeps. It's free, kids get to come out. Kona Ice will be there, so if you like Kona Ice, come on out, but it's completely free, and we're looking probably about to have 200, 300 kids there. So we're really excited about that and teaming up with the Pinellas County Jeepsters. Any questions about October?
No, we're good.
Because we're going to segue into the holiday, which is my favorite. So two of the programs I'm going to highlight is one is our tree lighting. This year it's going to be bigger and even better than last year. I heard you guys did a great job last year, but this year we have more vendors, more characters. I heard maybe some stilt walkers going to be there, maybe some snow. Of course, Santa Claus, of course, is going to be there. We have some performances this year from some local dance programs, chorus, jazz band, carolers, you name it. Christmas is coming down to downtown Clearwater. It's going to be amazing. And of course, that's free to everyone as well, too. That is November 30th at 6 o'clock. But if you want to be there on time for the tree lighting, make sure you're there at 6:30 p.m. in front of Station Square Park. The other one I want to highlight is a brand new program. It's called the Holiday Spirit of Lights Festival. This is actually going to kick off our stroll in downtown Clearwater. Yes, I said a stroll. Every night during the holiday season from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., families can come down and stroll downtown Clearwater from Capitol Theater all the way down to East Avenue because we'll have beautiful lights, different decorations, animations, and what's great is the local community will do pop-up performances in Station Square Park, which are free. So say I'm a mom and I want to go down on December 14th and do a stroll, well, there might be a pop-up performance in Station Square Park by Premier Dance Committee or something like that, or a chorus or a musical. But it's great we're bringing families down here to see all the festivities and have a place to come for free. So I'm really excited about the stroll. Any questions? No? So for anybody watching out there, if you need more information on any of these events, you can go to our Community Redevelopment Agency webpage, which is www.downtownclearwater.com, and click on that calendar button. Make sure you click the calendar button, okay? Our next slideshow is actually CRI program ideas and partnerships. These are something that we are currently working on. One of my ideas is actually to have a monthly calendar in Station Square Park where there's different small programs. Bag it, bring it, lunchtime trivia, movies in the park, fitness in Station Square Park, improv, comedy, and then pop-up events, like I said. There's a lot of community youth performance groups out there looking for places to perform, but they just don't have a stage. So this is a great opportunity for us to invite youth and young adults in the community to come show their talents. So I'm really working on some of the different local youth organizations that need a place to shine. The other special events, now these are special events that we're working on, is a cornhole tournament. I'm happy to say you guys dubbed the Sports Fest, so thank you. A taco and margarita festival. Like to get back to our roots and have some fun parades, touch-a-trucks, go-kart races, of course races and bike races, and then one of the things that's near and dear to my heart is Special Olympics. I'll be reaching out to them to see how we can partner up down here in downtown Clearwater. And last but not least, I do apologize, I do talk fast. But there is a list of all the organizations and potential partnerships that we've been reaching out to and working with, which I think it's great. It's a huge list. And I'm excited there's actually more names, but I ran out of room. Any questions for me?
You've gotten a lot of stuff going in a very short time.
It's been a lot of fun. I've been born and raised here, so it's been a pleasure to continue to serve my community. I mean, I grew up here.
Great. Well, I'm glad to see all of this stuff coming to downtown.
Thank you. Guys, have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Okay, Howard, can you take the next item for us, the update on the DDB grant funding application process?
All right, Howard Smith, again, Business Assistant Administrator for the CRA. So the purpose of this item is to provide an overview of the Downtown Development Board grant application process. For this overview, this is going to kind of be a precursor to December. In December of this year, we're going to look at updating your current work plan. And I want to be able to take all the board members through the process so that everybody is aware of what an applicant actually has to go through to be able to get connected to the board and be able to receive funding from the board. So for today, I'm going to walk through your current work plan as well as the application process and make sure everybody has an understanding of how the process goes. So when we have our work session, in the event you all want to make changes to it, take something out, add something to it, then we can have that discussion at that time and then be able to update the application. So in front of you, we have, let me make this a little smaller. We have the current application, and the previous application before this was revised in 2020 was, I think, about 5 to 6 pages. It was a lot of good information, but it was a lot of pages for an applicant to be able to review. So we shrunk that down, an opportunity of working with Keenan. We shrunk that down to ideally 4 pages. The first page is the information page, which you have here. The second page is really the demographic information, a description of the project, the amount of funding that people are asking. And the third page, if you have an event, then this is basically the page that you will fill out, which is more demographic information. And then the last page is actually a map, because we want to make sure that people know the areas where they have to provide services in for the DDB if they want to be able to come to you all to be able to get funding. So with that being said, I'm going to scroll back up to the top. So list of eligibility. Anyone can apply for a DDB grant or funding from the DDB. Anybody can apply for a grant from the DDB if they go through the staff review process and we make a recommendation, and the actual project or event has to take place in the footprint. And this is one of the first things that I tell people where you're going to have your event at. If you're trying to access a public place or the public right-of-way, the first step in that process, we tell them, go through Parks and Recs and get your permit. Because in order to be able to have an event in downtown or in the DDB footprint area, if it's in the city right-of-way for the streets or in a park or something like that, you have to have a special event permit. So we ask them to access that process at the beginning. With that, when they're doing their application, there's really 2 lists of fundings that can be applied for. It's either in the marketing grant category or the business assistance. So when we think about marketing, it's funding that's needed to be able to market your event. That can go from looking at social media or looking at social media costs or looking at print, videos, or any other type of campaign to be able to have your event be successful. Because if you're going to have an event, you have to be able to market. The other type of assistance can be done as business assistance. And in the business assistance line item, these are activities that are related to retention for businesses or anything that can bring a business here. So signage, that goes to retention for a business. So an actual individual business can apply for a grant through the DDB for signage, and it will allow their business to be able to be known, as well as allow their business to be able to stay. That's kind of the mindset. In addition to business retention, kind of ancillary services, anything that speaks to the district as a whole. The best example I can give you of that is the downtown trolley. That provides services bringing people from all over Clearwater, as well as St. Pete and Dunedin to the downtown area. So that's one of the reasons why they to get provided funding from the DDB, because that's a service that brings people into downtown. So those are the basic 2 line item categories where people can receive funding. So going through the process, once an applicant is applying for funding from the DDB, one of the first steps in that process for special events, we connect them to Eric and to Vicky. If there's anything in addition to that, they're connected to me. But the overall review for the process, I work with Vicky and I work with Eric to be able to complete that. We want to make sure that when the applicant fills out their application, it's completed in its entirety. We have an electronic form that they can fill out. In the event for this area right here, if they can't complete the information in there, they can always do an addendum. So there can be an additional sheet. We had it for the hard-to-guard basketball players. It said see addendum. So any other information that cannot fit into these cells, they're more than welcome to do that on an additional sheet. The primary piece of this, and one of the reasons why we asked about a budget, we want to make sure you as board members know the total cost of the project. So in looking at this area for the total cost, we asked for that number there. We asked for the amount of money that they're asking of the DDB. In addition to the applicants, the stake in the game or their contribution, we're asking what that amount is, and also if there is any type of third-party contribution. When you add the grant funding request, the applicant's contribution, and third-party contribution, if there is one, that all should equal the total project cost. So when you look at their budget, everything should align. So you should know what they're asking from the DDB for your funding part, what their contribution is, and again, if there's a third-party contribution. We want to know where the project will take place, who will implement the project, and when will it occur. And the biggest thing is how does their project help attract businesses, residents, or visitors to downtown for the live, work, and play model? Because at the end of the day, everything kind of falls back under that umbrella for downtown Clearwater to be that place where you want to live in, work in, and play in. And if somebody's seeking funding to be able to bring an event to downtown, it should be an inclusive process to be able to be communicated with that. And then other than that, it's just a matter of signing it. And again, if it's a special event, this is the second sheet that we actually fill out because we want to get more specific information about their event. So from start to finish, depending on when the application comes in, I get an opportunity to go through and review it, and we make a recommendation. Now, anybody can come to the board to have their requests heard. They can speak on the citizens be heard. If we get an application and it does not align with your work plan, then we will let them know, we'll make a recommendation that, hey, this is not an application that should be funded because it does not align with the work plan. And if they disagree, again, they can come to any one of the meetings, have their item to be heard, on the citizens be heard, and then you all can decide, hey, Howard, or hey, Vicki, or Eric, we want to be able to hear more about this applicant and have them do an application. So with that, for the second sheet, again, demographic information, a little bit more specific about who the intended audience is for the event and what is the anticipated attendance. So going to your point, Paris, kind of a price point, how many people come down, what is it going to cost for the event, we can kind of work through those numbers. What's the total cost, how much are they asking to be funded from the DDB, and where will the event be held. So this is basically the application. Our process, from my vantage point, is a really simple process. The issue that comes up for anything that's taking place in the right-of-way, and I think sometimes it gets lumped together, is the DDB application and the special event permit process. That process is not an overnight process. I cannot speak to it in depth, but you have to apply. There's a checklist. You have to meet with city departments. There is a little bit of work that's involved in going through that. So sometimes when people say it's an arduous, it's a hard process, for us, it's really filling out 2 pieces of paper, turning it in, making sure we have our information. But if you're asking for a special event, that's a process that's totally void of the DDB. You still have to go through the city, and that can take anywhere from a week, maybe to 10 days. That's why we recommend that people get started early. They actually like people to submit their applications 30 days in advance. And if you put an application, and let's say you want to use Station Square Park, if it's not available, then your application is going to be rejected for a permit. So you should have a backup plan. These are things that we do communicate to people that are applying for grants and want to have something in Station Square Park or in the public right-of-way or a park within the downtown area. So we want them to start their process early so it's easy to try to combine them both. So when they do come to you all for grant funding, we can say, hey, they've already got a permit that meets safety, COVID safety protocols. But again, that's a totally separate process, but I feel like sometimes they get lumped into one another and say, well, it's going to be a hard time getting my permit, which has nothing to do with the DDB application process.
Got it.
Any questions about the application?
No, so when is this workshop proposed to be done?
In December. So what we would do is that we will have a regular board session, hopefully in December. You know, the doc would be a little bit light. We'll convene after that session, then go right into doing the work session to update your work plan.
So that'll be during the same meeting?
Yes.
So it'll be just advertised as one meeting?
And it would be advertised as a work session, but the advantage also to having it in December is your members-elect can attend and be part of the process.
Yes, we discussed that with Elise, and we also wanted you to be here too, to be able to provide a historical perspective, and also with the incumbent coming in, we can kind of bring everybody together and get it done and walk through it and have an updated plan then to be adopted and implemented in January.
Okay.
So for your current work plan, let me make this a little smaller. The areas that we focus on are the marketing goals, and for the marketing goals is to increase awareness of downtown as a fun destination for Clearwater residents, employees, and visitors. And our business assistance is to retain current businesses and attract new businesses to downtown. And then under the policy and project work, create a more welcoming downtown. Under marketing, the strategy for that is to fund the production and from the production and marketing of a variety of special events throughout the DDB district. With tonight and then over the past couple sessions that we've done, we have definitely done that. You all have funded a variety of different events coming into downtown. With that, be able to fill vacant storefronts with art. We did that with the wearable trash art program that was provided to us by the ex officio members, so we met that goal and objective. In addition to increasing awareness of downtown as a tourist destination, I feel with the different events that are coming, different people participating in events in downtown, we have successfully met that goal also. Is that better for you?
Yep.
Okay. Under business assistance goals, retaining current businesses and attracting businesses, raise awareness of the DDB's funding support for local businesses. We've done that. Currently under business assistance, we've only had 2 businesses apply to receive funding for that. One was the, I just had it in my head, the gym guy.
For the sign?
For the sign, he got signed for his.
Mr. Infinity.
Yeah, Mr.
Infinity.
Infinity. Mr. Infinity got his, and then we also had the Tampa Bay, the race car place that's at the corner from work.
Sim Center.
Yeah, the Tampa Bay Sim Center. So those are 2 businesses that applied for signs and also received that. In addition, we also provide funding for the Jolly Trolley. Another strategy was to enhance the temporary closure of Cleveland Street through support of improvements to the streetscape, outdoor dining, entertainment, and also advertisement. We have the streetscape signs, not streetscape signs, we have the street signs for the wayfinding project that has been done and completed. We've done enhancements to Cleveland Street in addition to the parking spaces, so that goal has been met. Determine feasibility of attracting a hotel to downtown. This was your ideal, Ray. We've done nothing with that, but it's on there. And next strategy is connect residents and visitors to downtown through supporting a variety of transportation choices. We have the Jolly Trolley. Have been in communication with the gentleman for, name just left me, from the beach. Trent that came in, presented to us one time about possibly bringing that back towards the board, so that could be something that we discuss if you all want to keep this same item there, and that may be another opportunity to bring the beach goers into downtown.
Good idea.
Well, Howard, doesn't the referendum involve having a hotel arrive in downtown?
Oh yeah, but that wasn't an initiative that we.
It's not our initiative,
but yes.
It will accomplish one of our
goals. It will accomplish our goal, so yes, yes. And then on the policy and project work, establish diversity and equity committee, which we did, and we had the first applicant come through that for tonight. Support the Cleveland Street lighting project, and you guys can see that when you walk down Cleveland Street at night. We have the lights and stuff on the streets. And activate Station Square to generate more pedestrian traffic to local businesses. We've done that numerous times over the course of the past year with all the events that are funding and taking place there. And conduct direct mail, video, and social media campaigns to raise awareness of activities in downtown. Everybody gets provide marketing, and a lot of the social media, the video that the DCMA got for downtown was all done through support of DDB. So when somebody is seeking an application, we make sure that they also have your work plan, because those 2 things have to align up for us to be able to make a recommendation to you all as board members.
Thank you.
And that's really the application process.
Very good, Howard.
Thanks.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Any questions?
A nice summary of what we've been
And again,
We'll
we
be
will
working on
update this in December, so revisions are forthcoming.
excellent. Okay, any other comments or questions?
What's the feedback been from applicants on this new revised form?
From my standpoint, and I'll have to kind of defer to this to Paris, when he reached out to people and asked them about the process and payment process, like next month I'll bring it to you to kind of go over a grant agreement so you all can see what that looks like. But I'll have to defer to him, because from my standpoint, everybody liked the improved process. They like having fewer sheets to be able to fill out. But we really do try to make it easy, as well as making sure that every applicant come up here, they're prepped. And again, if there's not a there's an application that we cannot make a recommendation for, it's not something that will come before you all, but you all get notified at the end of the month all the applications that came through, and if one was not worthy of a recommendation, you have the reason why. So,
In early September, I placed a number of phone calls to people that had applied for grants for us at times in the past, just to get their temperature and see what they thought of the process, how difficult was it to apply for a grant, and how difficult was it to get reimbursed once they had received an approved grant. And almost without exception, there was one or two exceptions, but almost without exception, people gave it a rating of either 8 out of 10 or 10 out of 10. Most people thought it was easy, and quite a few of them complimented Howard personally, and thought the process was not a difficult one. They thought it would be harder if Howard wasn't there to help it. but you were considered to be quite helpful to them. You weren't being perceived as, City Hall stops you here. So that's what we're trying to reach, is that perception where people uniformly think that we're easy to do business with. That's not always been the case historically. Like, we've had many discussions here over the years on how people coming up and saying how difficult Clearwater was to do business with, and maybe that was true at some point in the past, but that perception is diminishing, and by survey, it's going away. So still not 100% gone, but we're doing a lot better than we were years ago.
that's about getting the word out, letting people know, and having people take advantage or have access to the information. Because that's really all it is, it's information. And as the gatekeeper of some of the information, we want to make sure that we provide the knowledge to everyone. And I think you see that in the diverse funding requests that have been coming forth over the past couple of months.
Thank you very much, Howard. Okay, so we've got some, the next item, 5.1, updates on the DDB market program.
Hello, Eric Santiago, CRA, Public Relations and Programs Manager. The purpose of this item is to provide an overview to the board members in order to develop the DDB's marketing program, which provides financial assistance to local businesses within the DDB for increased digital marketing, including social media and online marketing, to build their business capacity and retention. So there are two items that we would like your feedback on as we develop this program, which is eligibility and funding. So for eligibility, the question is, who is eligible for this grant? Which would be the first thing. So this is where we really just want to get your feedback so that we know how to develop this program. Currently, we have it proposed as all actively open businesses. All means geographically, all businesses within the DDB. So we'd like to know your feedback on what that should be.
Go ahead, Gary.
I'll take a stab at this. I would recommend that we focus the energy on those brick and mortar companies that bring people downtown. Dentists, mechanics, pizza joints, etc. There are certainly a lot of freelancers working in the ring and whatnot that do business on the internet across the world that don't bring people downtown, but they may actually bring employees if their business expands. But I think it's the first target, if we could maybe add those later on after proving this successful with brick and mortar companies.
I would agree with that. You stole my thunder. I was going to say that if somebody's just operating an Amazon business from a location here, they're not really contributing anything to downtown viability by us funding their, increased advertising. So I would agree that it should be something that has a presence in the downtown, not just a location, but an actual, like a storefront or a restaurant or some kind of business that has an activity where the public can come and enter that business here.
So that's the only constraints, no other constraints as far as size?
Well, originally I was thinking, there's companies in the area that there's some large companies in the area. They don't really need our money, and I don't think that it would make that much difference to them, to their budget, where might help a small businessman a lot more than it would help a company that has hundreds of employees. So I would suggest that we do have a limit, but we have to keep in mind that even small businesses can have a lot of employees. Like a restaurant can employ, there could be 120 people working there, not all at once. But so if we can't set too small a number. If we set it by employees, I don't think we can go around asking people for their revenue. But I think based on number of employees might be the way to limit that. What do you think?
No, I think we could have anyone come before us,
Mm-hmm.
with their grant request, and then we can review it. I mean, it goes through Howard first anyway.
Well, I don't know. We're trying to arrive at a simple process that doesn't go through a long review, where somebody can just come in and apply and get it stamped and processed.
I guess simplicity could be downtown. I mean, Road Before can come and just like they did last time, and we co-shared the expense with what they wanted. But if they want something for themselves, you might say, no, we don't have to say yes to everyone.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Elise.
If you are going to reject somebody based on whether or not you think they really need you, you're going to have, you can't just randomly say, no, we don't want you.
Right.
Okay? You've got to have a reason why we're saying we're not giving you this grant. And if you think that there are some, quite frankly, I don't think the really big people are going to ask for it, but they could. And if you think that based on, what they bring in financially or number of employees, I don't know what measure, if you've got some recommendations, great, but if you're going to measure it by the size of the company and whether we don't feel like we want to help the little guy more than the big guy, then you need to put it in there. Mm-hmm. And so that you have a rational basis for saying, so you're not random, and you give them a heads up too. Well, don't waste your time. And it doesn't look like you're playing favorites. You need to have a reason why you accept some and reject others, and it needs to be part of your grant. And so, and you can measure it by employees, you can measure it by dollars. Certainly, if you all have recommendations, but I understand the wanting to help the people you feel need the help most, but you've got to put it in your grant if that's what you're going to do.
Well, I'm glad you're there.
This could also be qualified by the purpose of the grant. Like, let's say No Before as an example. If they're doing a food truck Thursday and they want to add some social media to it with this grant, well, then the purpose is to bring more people downtown versus expand the number of customers they have in Chicago, right? So if we leave it more towards that with businesses downtown and the purpose is to drive people downtown, that would qualify out the asks.
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be the size of the business, it's the purpose of their.
Exactly, yeah.
Clarify the purpose.
Well, how is Howard and Eric going to assess the purpose, and does that,
The thought
that
is,
starts getting a little mushy?
yeah, I mean, the thought is, because we don't want people using double dipping in multiple programs, so if they're receiving funding for a special event, that's part of that special event funding, not this, which is marketing funding. So we want to keep those two programs so they're not going towards the same thing.
So I have an idea. Because it's the first time we're doing this, let's keep it as simple as possible. Let's say it has to be a business with a footprint downtown that public can walk into.
Sounds good.
And other than that, it doesn't matter. Like, we don't care what kind of business it is, as long as it's located in the district. Doesn't matter if it's small or big. The only thing we have to be careful of is that we don't have more people sign up than we have money for.
Which that leads us to the second item.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I mean, you're probably right. I was jumping the gun. I was going to say, Go ahead.
All right, so the second item that we'd like to get your feedback on is funding. So there's $50,000 allocated for this program. One route is to do, there's obviously several routes you can take here. One route is to do a maximum of $2,000 per applicant, which would be 25 grants allotted with the funding we have for this program. So with $2,000 per applicant, the questions are, is that the number that you want? Obviously, you can go smaller, go higher. And then for what period of time is that funding going to be for? Is it for a year? Is it for 6 months? Is it for a quarter? So really kind of establishing what those parameters are.
I'm so sorry, I have to step away.
Okay. Keenan, give us your thoughts on a small business. What would make it, what would be impactful in terms of a spend for social media?
If they're spending, let's say Google Ads, $1,000 a month, and we're matching that, that's going to impact the garage, it's going to impact the dentist. I mean, a dentist might need to spend more because the cost per clicks are higher.
Because nobody likes them.
And nobody likes them, and it's extremely painful when you pay. But I think anywhere from at $2,000, if they're matching it, that's a $4,000 ad spend. That's a pretty significant number of clicks. You're going to be looking at, anywhere from 10 to 50 a click, right? So $10, that'd be 400 clicks, of which there'd be 100 potential prospects. So it's going to work. The campaign will work. If they're asking for a few $100s, and they're putting in a few $100s, I wouldn't do a minimum. I mean, a minimum of 500 or 1,000
And over what period of time would you say?
per month. They're going to need to commit to a 6-month campaign, or Google's not. It's just they're not going to win.
So why don't we say either 2,000 or 2,500 over a period of 6 months? No, what does everybody think? 2,000 or 2,500?
What have we done historically? I mean,
We haven't done this before.
so, never done before?
History's on our side here.
It's a test.
We're breaking new ground here.
We can start with 2, and then money doesn't jump it to 2,500.
Now, in my experience, historically, we haven't had a huge amount of participation from businesses on our programs. So I'd be more inclined to say if we can get 20 people and give them 2,500 each, that's more likely to happen and use up the allocated amount than trying to find 25 for 2,000.
It's also a Kickstarter. Like, if it works, and these are new people not doing advertising in the social realm, then this could be the impetus to get them started, kind of the training wheels, and then we push them out there, and then they keep rolling with it, and then the new batch comes in.
Also, if we get deluged with applicants, there's nothing to stop us at any time from saying halfway through the program, we could say, okay, we're having a lot of interest, a lot of participation. Why don't we propose to add another 50,000 or another 25,000 to this program for this budget year? We could do that at any time if the program's going well.
Sounds good.
Right?
We need to do something to get some statistics to analyze with.
Yeah. So my thought would be 20 applicants, $2,500 each in 6 months. And they have to also provide us some statistics on what happened.
And they have to match it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a matched spend.
It's easy to track, easier than you think.
I have a hard time thinking, so I hope it's easier than that.
Okay, those were the questions we had. So we will take this feedback, and our next steps will be to build out this program. We will be reaching out to Keenan. I guess, well, if you would like to be a part of this, we would like to reach out to you for additional guidance on next steps. I don't know if that has to be approved or not, but we'd like you to be part of the development of this.
I think that you can just be part of it. I don't think it needs approval. The other thing that we need is something, we need to figure out how the application process opens and closes. Because when can people start saying, I want to be on this? And, so we don't have all the places gone at the time that we make the official announcement or something.
Yeah, so the next step will be to kind of continue to build out this framework, and then we'll come to you with an actual application for approval.
Okay.
Great.
Good. Great, thank you. All right, so, Chairman's report. So there's, from everything you've seen tonight, there's a whole host of events coming. I'll just briefly touch on some of the ones again for October. Market Marie on this Saturday, October 8th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. This one will be at 710 Court Street, the corner of Myrtle and Court. The Hocus Pocus Bash, Saturday, October 8th, 6 to 10 p.m. in the 400 block. It's presented by Timeless Entertainment. Jeeper Treat, Friday, October 14th, 6 to 9 p.m. at the Old City Hall parking lot. Dunedin Girl Gang Halloween Market. That's going to be on Sunday, October 30th, noon to 4 p.m. And Daydreaming, Vicky Butcher's hand-painted photographer, is open through February 24th here in the library, and it's free to the public. There's full details at downtownclearwater.com. And with that, we'll go to board members to be heard.
I'd like to start with an early Thanksgiving. I was going to thank Vicky Shire for arriving and rolling really fast, except she left. I think she had some meeting to attend. I'd like to thank all the members. It's been almost 2 years from me being here, and for all the big bucks you got paid. I still like to thank you for what you're doing. I'm excited about the holidays versus last year. Oh my. So I look forward to the most wonderful holiday season. It'll be far, far more exciting than last year. Can't thank enough the CRA staff. You guys, without your support, it'd be very hard to do any of these for the businesses to come ask for the funds. We can tax people and collect the money, but if you don't have a way to promote it and let them know and put them in process, it's just without you guys. So I'm dreading when the CRA ends somewhere down the road. Hopefully not soon. I'd like to thank our attorney, Elise, who keeps us on the line. And when we derail, she just basically says, hey, pick it up and put it back on the rails. Did you think of that? We have wonderful city council members who coordinate with us. Thank you. We look forward to seeing more of it as we expand here, which is very exciting. And I should end off and not continue on.
Very good.
Well, last week was a little windy and wet, and an impromptu vacation from the schools. So I'd like to thank Dale and Sarah, right? Dale and Sarah, Downtown Pizza, for throwing out pizza pies Tuesday for the volunteers. My daughter and some of her friends and her cousin came down, and they were helping board up the windows with all the volunteer ministers. And it was awesome, and they just started shelling out pizzas for all the people, so I didn't have to buy lunch. It was good. And then I saw Matt, I think that was Wednesday morning, wasn't it? About 7, 8, was that Wednesday? Tuesday morning? Matt came back all the way from Palm Harbor because he got a phone call, and there were still some chairs and tables that could have turned into Frisbees during the big wind, so he had to drive back from home to come down and make sure all the city was safe, and everything got boarded up. It was impressive from Capitol Theater all the way to our office in hours, and then after, when they took the boards down, they fixed the awnings, and so anyway, so the street was up and down and protected, and Ray got metal protectors on his building. I don't know where you are with that, but, oh, fine.
They're in the back of the building.
So anyway, it was great to see that happen downtown, working with the city.
I'd also like to thank the CRA. I don't know how many people go to Howard for asking for money But you filter it out, so almost everybody gets through you. It's easy for us to say, yeah, it's a good idea. And I like giving away this money. Seems to be more than normal today, and I'd like to see even more of that, because the pandemic's gone, future's bright. I'd like to see downtown just boom, become an ideal city that it's going to become, and we're on our way. So thank all you guys.
Ditto on that, and also with the Imagine Clearwater happening and, you know, the events that we're funding here, I really see a bright future for downtown Clearwater and the city of Clearwater. And also, Howard, thank you for that walkthrough. I feel like I could fill out that application quite easily, so I appreciate that.
Well, I'm thrilled, just thrilled, for various reasons. First, I'm very excited to see that the CRA was responsive and has improved the process. Unlike the chair, I did receive some feedback that was a little bit more on the negative side, and where the perception was that it was a laborious process. So the changes are welcomed, and thank you so much for being responsive to that feedback. Second, reviewing the number and the scope of the requests tonight, I am thrilled. They have different target audiences, different age groups, different locations, seasonal themes. They even have a sports event, which is very rare. But very importantly, at least to me, I understand that Board Member Jamo was very interested in diversity and equity and inclusion. And so I approached the Spanish Outreach Center and Elizabeth from Tequilas, and I told them, let's do Des Muertos, and just pass them on to the CRA, and they were incredible to do this in such a short notice, so thank you once again. Rita Ivy, you saw her today. She approached the City Council to do some diversity. Again, I brainstormed with her, redirected to the CRA. Thank you again. So the CRA is becoming very instrumental in bringing forth people and entities that are going to help downtown. So I'm very, very excited. I also want to remind everyone, November 8th is the referendum for the development on the bluff to have 500 apartments, which means year-long residents, and 158 key hotel in downtown with other retail spaces. This is very important to have warm bodies all year, all day, all night in downtown to add a diversity. And so I'm very excited, and I agree the future is bright.
Yes, for Clearwater indeed. November 8th ballot, very important. And lots of great events being funded here. Thank you so much for that. So it was a great meeting, and I'll see you next month.
Great. Yeah. I just wanted to point out, I also want to echo what Lena said about the November 8th referendum. There is a meeting next, like the one for downtown, is next Thursday, I believe, in the library, where Mayor Hibbert is going to be explaining what the referendum is about. Does anyone know what time that's at?
The schedule is kind of challenged because of the hurricane, so there's a little bit of fine-tuning, but I can get back to you on that.
Okay. If you could check with the city, those of you that might be watching this, I think it's an important thing to attend at the library at this location here next week. I believe it's on Thursday, and the mayor will be explaining the referendum and its importance to the downtown. So with that, at 7:57, no, it's 6:57 in the evening, this meeting is adjourned.
Military time.